SOS's leave bug, I see.
And we are in the game. So spawning in the bottom left-hand side of Dust Towers, it is Root Gaming's Hydra.
And spawning in the top right position of Dust Towers is the Red Protoss player representing Generic Green Wings. It is sOs.
The world champion. So nothing out of the ordinary so far. SOS going for a very quick scout after the first pylon, perhaps fearing that Hydra will do something cheesy. Hydra, however, is just droning up, most likely going to go for a hatchery first. Now, let's not forget on this same map, SOS versus Nerchio. SOS did a pylon block, denying Nerchio's ability to go for a 3 hatch before pull. So this is very likely that he does something like this against Hydra, who is taking the hatchery first at the front. So probably intends to go into a 3 hatch before pool opener.
Mm-hmm. And SOS scouts the lack of a spawning pool, so we'll see if he does that. And looks like he's actually going to make his way over there.
Yeah, he's almost definitely going to stick around it and just wait to see if Hydra is trying to take that hatchery. Hydra smartly going for a gas indicator that he's going to be going for a pool right after, anticipating that the world champion will not let him go for that 3 hatch before pool. Now, a cool thing about this is Hydra used to take the hatchery in the back first, much like I used to do most of the time. But then actually I started talking to DRG about this. DRG, a former GSL and MLG and every type of tournament champion, and a friend of mine, and he told me that that he really likes taking the hatchery in the front in maps like this one, and I myself couldn't reason why, but when he explained that it made a lot of sense, he normally goes up to 4 queens, and with that he can secure the hatchery at the front against, say, double gated depth. Of course, none of that is going to be happening here, as the third hatchery is blocked by Hydra, and he went for a really quick link speed. So we'll see if Hydra's able to, or potentially something else, but most likely a link speed. We'll see if Hydra's able to utilize the gas in any meaningful way. SOS now letting the first pylon finish, while Hydra is making a couple of links just to get rid of this.
Yeah, and we see there's not a second gateway coming from SOS. He's getting that Zealot, which he'll probably cancel at the last second before it's made, and he'll probably go into... Last time he went to a Stargate, so we'll see if he goes into that again.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily... If he's getting the Zealot in this particular position, he's likely to keep it, as much as he's likely to cancel it, because if he was gonna... He has full scouting of Hydra, right? So there's no reason for him to not make the Zealot, in my opinion, here, because if he wasn't going to make it, then why would he ever start it in the first place? Since he knows that his opponent is not going to be rushing him.
It's a 2-player map instead of 4.
Right. So on a 4-player map, SOS, what he was doing yesterday when he canceled the Zealot was trying to see if his opponent would...
rush him.
Yeah, exactly. That was his way of being safe without scouting or scouting late. But here he got full scouting information, so making the Zealot at the start would just delay the rest of his build order for no good reasons.
Looking at the position from the Stargate from SOS, it seems like he's not really afraid of showing it. Maybe that's a key sign he might go into Phoenix instead of an Oracle.
Well, there's also no Overlord in position for Hydra, and SOS knows where the first Overlord is by Hydra. So that's, you know, that could play into that. And he is indeed going for Phoenix. But again, there is no real spotter Overlord for Hydra, so this position for the start board is actually pretty great, right? Like it won't get scouted.
It just seems like it's in a very vulnerable position. Usually, if you try to hide something, you probably put it behind your mineral line or something, like something in a weird location.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if you don't think this is gonna get scouted regardless, which SOS might have thought. Then this is the closest location to your opponent your opponent's base. So.
But he's going for Phoenixes, which will just clear out the couple of Overlords. And actually, I think Hydra only has like 2 Overlords that are probably going to get picked off. But
yeah, the rest will probably be pulling back. We'll see on Hydra's end of things. He has 3 Overlords by the outskirts of his base, and those are most likely going to get pulled back pretty soon here. Not yet doing so. Now he is. So, yeah. About what you would expect from a player of his caliber. We have the +1 attack already going for SOS, as well as a 3rd Nexus, while Hydra didn't really get to use the early gas that he took for very, very much at all. So more than anything, a very safe build by Hydra.
Can you go into TL and list us on the thing? Because we're not listed. I don't have that
Yeah, but he's getting that. He's still making phoenixes at this point. He's still probing up. We haven't seen a gateway explosion yet. We saw from the last game of SOS versus Nurtio that he actually did this exact same thing with the double robo, and he might go into that charge slot Immortal Archon composition and use the phoenixes to pick up the potential lurkers that are going to come later on, which it seems like a pretty powerful timing. On this map especially because that fourth is just pretty exposed. It's like
Yeah, that's an excellent point. The fourth is very wide open, and that makes for good immortal Archon timings, like you said. So those are the type of units that tend to clump up and not excel in chokes, but rather when they can be very spread out, as it is a Sergei type unit composition in the sense that it has a lot of units. A lot of units.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seems like the Hydra dens. I can't say for sure because I don't remember the exact time when it went down, but it just seems like the Hydra Den is out a little bit quicker than it was when SOS was playing Nurtio before. Maybe it's because these Phoenixes are getting a couple of drone kills, but I don't think they're really doing as much. They're not brave enough to like go into the natural into the third as in the previous game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of lifts, maybe 3 by now left over. That could be an extra 3 drone pickoffs for SOS. But he did a pretty decent amount of damage with the Phoenix. If we look at the units lost tab right now, we can see that Hydra has lost about 300 extra resources to what SOS has lost. So things are looking good for the world champion, but not bad for Hydra by any means.
Yeah, he's got a healthy worker count. He's taking that fourth. He's got quite a bit of Hydralisk on the way. And I'm wondering when we're going to see that Lurker Den, because it's got to come in soon, right?
Yeah, he's going for the Hydra range first. So if he is planning to drop that Lurker then that's, he's got to wait until that's done. And I personally like Lurkers, but a lot of people don't particularly like Lurkers in the style that SOS is going for. A lot of people think that because this type of style transitions so late into AoE, aside from the Archons, you can just go for something like Mass Roach, Ravager, Hydra. And we see Hydra actually adding Roaches and Ravagers, a bunch of Links as well, and not really the Lurker Den just yet. With this many Links, I wouldn't mind a Baneling Nest either, just because Zealots are awful against Banelings, and that is the core unit that tanks all the damage for the composition that SOS is going for.
Oh, you might actually get some of these Phoenixes.
This is
wow,
big
pickup from Hydra.
Yeah,
I mean,
just an
wow,
unexpected
3
time
Phoenixes
to, an unexpected time to for SOS. And this is pretty great for Hydra indeed, but he has to be really careful here. Now Charge is just finished, so Hydra needs to be extremely careful. He's kind of overstepping his bounds. Really good microdome. That is indeed a lot of Hydra. So hitting SOS before he gets a critical mass of Zealots to tank for these units are great timing for Hydra. And like you said, picking off those Phoenix, a great initial pickoff, and he is going to be able to, at the very least, delay this fourth base. Now his creep spread is good enough that he can have much better reinforcements than he normally would. So things are looking up for the WCS champion here.
Yeah, he was able to reset that high Zealot count, and he picked off the Phoenixes, which is absolutely huge, because that means when the Lurkers come out, what can SOS really do to help deal with the Lurkers besides just trying to overwhelm them? He couldn't pick them up with the Phoenixes, and everything else is pretty much a close range unit. Maybe go into Disruptors, but I mean, Hydra's doing an absolutely fantastic job right now.
Yeah, there's a few things that you can do. For example, the Immortals and the Archons are great at tanking Lurker damage, and the Immortals by themselves can tank a lot of Lurker shots with their shield as well, and then pick up the Lurkers relatively quickly. So there are options for sure for SOS, but ideally he would want to have those Phoenix to just remove temporarily or even permanently those Lurkers from the fight. So SOS is going to be pushing Hydra back and stepping onto creep. I can't imagine that he's going to want to push the issue too much here. So he's probably just trying to force Hydra to make additional units.
This flank of the Lurkers.
Yeah, this could very well be a flank. And it looks like it will be. Burrowing a few of those Lurkers, he's going to start killing some Zealots, and we'll see if Hydra can somehow sandwich the army of SOS.
Looks like he's going to send the Lurkers to the fourth of SOS, and he's going to try to defend at home. 22 Lings and Roaches and Hydras are in production. He sees the army that's on creep, so he probably recognizes that he could probably defend this.
With the Lurkers coming back. Yeah, this is fantastic for Hydra. He's going to siege the fourth and probably deny it one more time. And the Lurkers that he has are going to kind of make it impossible for the army of SOS to retreat.
There's no observer here.
Yeah, absolutely. So this should be pretty good, Taylor. This is looking up for Hydra. It looks like he's definitely gonna be denying that fort one more time.
This Mama Core has the work cut out for her because she's, working at that
Yeah,
one lurker.
with those zealots though, and the micro of SOS, he's gonna be able to get rid of that. But this army was so isolated for such a long time that Hydra was able to muster enough units to just clear it off. And right now, SOS is just gonna have to GG.
I mean, SOS, he traded really well, but he lost all those expensive units. Archons and Immortals, they are not they're very expensive and not very cheap at all. So really great work from Hydra. That lurker flank was primo.
Yeah, and I really like what you said there, because they're really expensive and not very cheap at all.
Mhm.
And that's it. This is an important fact, and thank you very much for your analysis and your service to this country, Taylor, because you're an outstanding citizen of America.
Nice.